Well, here we are again. Paul
Hello.
and Andy's podcast,
Hello.
Grey Matters. Now, one of the grey matters, I think, is do it yourself, DIY.
Don't know.
So, I've just come back from your bathroom.
Yes.
Well, if I was in America, it would be a bathroom, but it's actually a toilet, isn't it? A lavatory. Don't hear the word lavatory very much, do you?
No, you don't.
Nobody says lavy or lavatory.
No, they
It's gone
don't.
right out of the window.
Lavatory.
Toilet. And people do quite freely say now, I'm going for a wee.
Yes.
Whereas you'd never say that. You'd say, I'm going to spend a penny, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Spend sixpence.
Or where's your loo?
Yeah, where's your loo is permissible.
Yeah.
Your facilities, any euphemism that we could have used, we did use. But
Yeah.
spending a penny, where did that? I suppose it's from going to a public convenience and
Yeah.
put a penny in the slot to
Those
go and.
big old things they used to have, the door handles that used to accept the
Yeah,
one
that's
p.
right. Yeah. Brass they were, weren't they?
Yeah.
Now, speaking of brass,
Yes.
I am holding what can best be described as the offcuts of a copper pipe that has been had some joints added to it and a little mounting. It's a very avant-garde toilet roll holder. So I can see that it's got some merit as look what the plumber was able to make out of a bit of wasted copper pipe. But you have, over the last year, not attached this to the wall.
Right, okay, well, there's a story behind this. My friend James is a builder and he is a genius, basically. He's the most creative builder I have ever met. And he's done loads of work in our house. And he never likes to throw things away. So when he's got offcuts of things, he likes to make things out of them. And he had this copper piping and the bracket left over from something else. And he noticed that we didn't have a toilet roll holder in the downstairs. So he made one.
And it's very creative because
He's such a creative man.
The brass bracket is actually holding the copper pipe, which then bends round and downwards, and then bends round and right. So you can literally thread a toilet roll onto it. So that I get that, and it's quite clever. But why have you not put it up? Was my question.
Because I really like DIY, but DIY doesn't like me. And my problem is I suffer from a lack of confidence with DIY. And I'm really good at catastrophizing about things, so that the job's already gone wrong before I've even started it in my own head.
So what would you be catastrophizing with the relation to putting this up on the wall then?
Right, okay.
It requires two screws.
Yes, I know. Right, for a start I haven't got the right colour screws, which would need brass screws, and you can't just go and buy 2 screws, can you? You have to buy a box full.
Well, you can probably buy less than a box full, but yes.
But I don't need more than 2, do I?
Well, not for this job, no.
No, but
But
I just...
as I understand it, what we do is we accumulate screws and nuts
Right.
and bolts and stuff for jobs that we might need to do, you see.
Right, okay. So I need to buy some brass screws, which I haven't yet.
How long do you think these screws should be?
I don't know. Because that is the other thing.
Okay.
How do you know this stuff?
Well, I'm not a great DIY expert, but
Right.
compared to you,
I'm
flying.
Einstein.
I am absolutely flying.
You've suddenly turned into my guru.
The
Sort of.
the weight and the length of the screws and the diameter of screws really depends on what you're trying to hold up, doesn't it?
Well, a toilet roll.
Let's just walk through this together, shall
Okay.
we? The weight of a toilet roll isn't
No.
the weight of an encyclopedia,
No,
is it?
no.
So you don't need to worry too much about having 4-inch screws holding it to the wall.
Right.
Okay.
No.
So what would you think would be adequate?
About half an inch?
Yeah, you're going to be imperial, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, so half an inch, maybe 2 centimetres, something like that. Half an inch might do it. I'd say an inch would be favourite.
Yeah.
Just in case you caught it
Yeah.
on your pants as you pulled your pants up and it pulled it off the wall. You need some kind of a bit of extra margin to hold it onto the
Right.
wall. So probably inch brass screws, and probably you don't want little tiny skinny ones because they'll fall through the hole, won't they?
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. So then what are you going to do?
Well, this is the thing, because the wall in question is plasterboard.
Right.
it'll have some wooden battens somewhere behind it, won't it? So
It might do, but they might be 4 foot up in the air, which wouldn't be very
no,
good.
they go all the way down. I saw it being built.
Oh, right, okay.
So my memory of it is that there are lots of straight up uprights. I think you call them in builder terms.
I'm not a builder.
And presumably those screws have to go into the wood rather than just in the plasterboard.
No, they can go into plasterboard.
Can they?
But you need a plasterboard fixing. You know what a raw plug is?
Yes.
Okay. So you need a special raw plug for a cavity wall.
Right.
Which basically, when you put it in and the screw goes into it,
Yeah.
you splay out wings
Oh, yeah,
outside
yeah. I've
and
seen those.
lock onto it. And they come in either a metal version or a plastic version. And so there's a beguiling number.
Right.
But you could find where the wooden upright was.
Yeah.
And you could do that by tapping. You would give a...
Yes.
When it's hollow, there's nothing behind it, and when it's less hollow, one of your battens is behind it.
Yeah.
But then, of course, that's limiting you to where you would put it, and
Yeah.
you don't want to be falling off the toilet, reaching for the toilet roll, ideally, unless you're going to provide a hard hat in your toilet, of course. Well, you might be wearing a hard hat to do the job. I don't know, but these days. Yeah. So you need a raw plug, and then you need if you're drilling into. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not a DIY expert, but I would certainly say, amongst your toolkit, you should have some bits. You should have masonry bits, wood bits, and metal bits. If you're just going into a wood, then you'd only need a wood bit, and you need to drill it slightly, same sort of size as the raw plug that's going in. Okay, so you can. If you end up with a too small a hole, you're not going to be able to get the raw plug in.
Right.
If you do it too big, then it'll just flop out, won't it? Just pull out of the wall. So you need to look at the raw plug and work out the size of hole you need to drill. Now we can do that together. I'll help you with that. Having done that, you need to measure very carefully. They always say measure twice, cut once.
I've heard that.
Measure twice, drill once. I actually do it several times and still cock it up. Amazing. So I don't know how that works. Measure it 3 or 4 times, cock it up once.
Yes.
But having done that, get a raw plug. You want it to be level. If you're being really, really not going to use your eyes, then you need a little spirit level just to make sure that's.
I've got one of those.
Okay, good. And then mark it with a pencil. Get a bradawl, make a hole, and then drill the hole. Put the raw plug in, screw in. Bob's your uncle.
Right.
Easy.
Right.
Now you raised something very interesting. You said that you're not brave enough. You don't have the courage. You're already talking. You're catastrophizing.
Fear of failure.
Yeah, and I think men particularly have become like that. We're frightened to do it wrong.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you put this toilet roll holder up in your toilet, which very few people use, let's face it, you don't have people queuing up to use it down the street.
Not yet.
Who is going to know if you've cocked it up? It doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is, if you drill the hole wrong, or you put it in and it's on the
wonk,
or the wonk even, then it doesn't matter, because you go, I've done that wrong. I'll have to fill that, or hopefully it will be covered up anyway, and I'll just do it again. It doesn't matter. It's fear of failure. I completely agree. I mean, my brother and I witnessed 1 or 2 DIY catastrophes over the years, because our father, he was pretty handy and pretty good with woodwork. He built a lovely coffee table at woodworking classes, but he could make schoolboy errors. You know? My favourite was he'd got a neighbour to draw up some plans for a wardrobe for my brother's bedroom. My brother had a little box room, and so it was a fitted wardrobe kind of thing. And so he's a draftsman. He drew up the plans. My dad took the plans, turned them into a wardrobe.
Yeah.
And it was all perfect until he put the doors. I'm going to put the handles on now, and then I'm finished. And he measured the one handle we put on. He drew a line, and he drew a line on the other cupboard door. And he put the screws in, having bradawl through the holes of the handle. Closed the doors, and one handle was up there, and one was there. It's quite simply because he'd taken the line across where he shouldn't have done, and not actually checked the second or third time that they were going to be level. So he'd drawn the line across and gone completely a handle's depth, wrong.
Yeah.
And he was really annoyed because it compromised the front of the thing, and he had to fill it in, and of course it was never going to... He'd always know. I suppose he'd always know. You'd always know that, wouldn't you? And I think it's that fear of just getting it wrong and not being able to do it right. And also, it's also pride.
Yes.
we think we should be able to do something.
Yeah.
And we would hate to ask, I'm not very good at tying my shoelaces. Could you just show me how you do it?
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. I'm exaggerating, obviously.
Yeah.
Although some people do have problems tying their shoelaces. They just
Right.
never talked about it.
No.
Basically.
Well,
but like putting a plug on, which we don't have to do very much these days because they come with the appliances come with a plug on. But you open the plug, you go, is blue live or is brown live? I've always thought that it was the wrong way round, so that's always competing in my head. Brown should be earth, shouldn't it?
No, brown's always live.
Yeah, brown. Well, why is brown? Because blue's more of an electric colour. So
brown used to be red.
Well, exactly,
and it became brown.
And black and red still exist in your wiring.
Yeah,
it still exists.
Yeah.
So it's all very complicated, and we don't like to ask. Excuse me, how do we do this? How do I put up a shelf? What's a good way? What fixing do I use? What screwing do I use?
Yeah, all that. It's a bit of a dark art, really. And these are things that I feel I should know. I could change a plug, no problem at all. But now they've taken that skill away from me because it's not needed anymore. No. Because things come with plugs on that are welded on. So you can't actually get them off without getting a pair of scissors out. Please don't try that at home if the thing's plugged in. It's that sort of thing. It's fear of failure, and I just know it's going to go wrong, and I can feel it going wrong as I'm doing the job. Thinking, I knew this. I knew I shouldn't have started this.
Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? There are some things I think it's unwise to...
anything with electrics.
I'll give you a recent example. Some years, 2 or 3 years ago, we had a shower door that broke. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fittings broke, not the glass, because that's tempered. But it was like, to replace that, you're not going to be able to get the parts to do it. We'll have to get another one. So we looked through the catalogues. They're very expensive, 200 or 300 quid. Mm-hmm. We thought we won't go for the Fiat version. We'll go for the BMW version, mm-hmm. and it was £320. And I thought I'll be able to fit that. And they delivered it, and I was all psyched up to spend the day doing it and get it wrong, whatever. Opened the box, and broken, mm-hmm. inadequate packaging around it. Mm-hmm. So I phoned the company, and they said, "Oh, well, sorry about that. We'll send you another one straight away." So they sent another one straight away. Guess what?
Oh.
Broken. Exactly the same place. Why? Inadequate packaging. So I phoned them up and said, "This is ridiculous. Oh, we're terribly sorry. We'll send you..." I said, "No, you're not going to send me another one because it'll be completely broken again, won't it? Unless you're going to pack it up differently." Oh, and I said, "Well, furthermore, what do you want me to do with these 2 shower doors that I've got that are broken? The fittings are broken." Oh, and I said, "Well, can you just dispose of them?" Yeah, I turned one into a cold frame and grew seedlings under it.
Good.
Yeah, a bit over the top, but there it was. And the other one, I took to the tip and I had to pay £6 to get rid of it because it's tempered glass and it's special. And it's like, flipping heck. Anyway, I started looking at this and I thought, you know what? We'll just have a shower curtain. We will just have a shower curtain. Mm-hmm. So I went and bought a pole and a shower curtain. But that's not been a good thing, because you're compromising and it doesn't. It looks like a sort of PE changing room. It doesn't look like your home so much. So I'm not going to attempt to get that because it'll arrive broken, mm-hmm. Unless somebody goes and gets it, like a kitchen person or a plumbing person or a bathroom specialist. But I'm going to get a bathroom specialist to do it because it's a specialist thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when it comes to electrics, I'll have a go. But of course, like you said, you wire a plug. It's all based on our experience, isn't it? What we've done. Yeah. And as a kid, I was fascinated by lights and electricity, and I made some disco lights. And 2 of my disco lights were Rover biscuit tins, so the big tins of biscuits. Ate all the biscuits, and whilst overloaded with sugar, I then cut a hole in the side, put a bayonet light fitting in, and I got a light, I got a floodlight.
Brilliant.
Then I found out you could do this: put a red bulb in. Do another one with a yellow bulb and bring it back to a little bit of wood, about 6 inches by 6 inches. Take a starter from a fluorescent light and wire that in series. Yeah. So I soldered, in series. Yeah. And it flickers like when a fluorescent light comes on. So it's a bit of a disco light. Right. Although in our lounge, it did look like it was on fire. So neighbours were going past going, "Oh, everything all right in there? I thought it was a fire." And also, it was exposed to the to anything.
Yeah.
And you could have touched it and got a shock. Now, I didn't get a shock doing that.
No.
I got a shock from fairy lights. which I had found a string of fairy lights up in the loft. I thought, I didn't know we had these. Fantastic. Don't have to buy any. Use them. But I'd get the bulb and check them like that. And must be careful. Don't touch it because it was a 20-volt system. It wasn't kind of LEDs in those days.
No.
And I accidentally touched the one. Boom! Oh, that was good. And then stupidly, but this is how you learn, isn't it? I had another set of lights that I plugged in, but I had to go plug them in underneath the chest of drawers.
Right.
So I plugged them in. They didn't work. I get them out again. Changed the fuse. Put it back in. Didn't put the top back on the plug. So my hand went right across the back of the plug, and I was thrown right across the room.
Gosh,
it really hurt. I didn't do it again.
No,
I learnt, but it didn't make me want to give up. It just made me want to be better.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. So I will. I tell you what, because you're such a to me, such a DIY expert, and you are certainly.
I just got the courage.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to use your courage, and you're one of these people that's got a garage with lots of drawers in of lots of stuff. You never throw anything away. I've seen your garage, and so you will have somewhere 2 brass screws. Next time you come round, can you bring them? And then I can put this up.
Do you know what? I won't bring 2 brass screws.
What?
Because that's not the secret of DIY. The secret is to bring a whole pack. No, not even 4. You can easily lose 3. So I'll bring a whole load of them, different sizes, and my drill and a bradawl.
Yeah.
I'll even bring a pencil if necessary.
I've got a pencil. But this is the thing that really confuses me, is that you measure something, and I'm old school, so I'll measure. Despite going to school and being taught in metric, I still work in feet and inches because it makes more sense to me. So, but why are measurements? You measure something, and I'll say, right, that's an inch and a half, and then I go to the shop, and everything's in centimetres, and vice versa. I bet you bottom dollar if I'd have measured it in centimetres or millimetres, even. Then the measurements are always in different units, and that really annoys me.
Well, you have to grasp the nettle and go metric.
No.
Measuring metric, ordering metric.
But this is what I mean. Why are we in this mess in this country?
Well, we've never embraced it fully, have we?
No. But why didn't we just go for something and go for it, right?
Well, because we don't want to be part of Europe or do anything European, and we never have done.
We're in the common market for 20-odd years.
We're islanders. We don't want to do it.
But you can't have 2 systems in tandem.
Well, we have. For how long now? Have we 30 years, 40 years?
But it's just silly, because if I was walking down the street with you and you said to me, how tall is that guy over there? I'd say, probably about 6'1". And you know exactly what I was talking about.
How heavy are you?
In stones, 12.5 stone.
Are you?
Yeah.
I must follow your diet, because I'm 13.5.
All right.
But what am I in kilos? What are you in kilos?
I've no idea.
You see, I'm 88 kilos.
I've no idea. And do you know what? I don't care that I've no idea, because I know in stone and pounds and ounces and all that, and they still in hospital will say this baby is a good healthy baby, that 8 pounds 7 ounces, and they still do it.
Yeah, they do.
So if they stop doing that from birth, we might stand a chance. So listen. Anyway, I'm not going to get on a rant about this. What I'm going to do is embrace my inexperience with DIY, and I've done something really, really foolish, brave. I don't know. It's a thin line, isn't it? I decided to install a reversing camera on my car, because I haven't got one.
Wow.
So I've got the camera, and I've just got to wire it in to the car. And I think I know how to do it.
Well, the good thing is, nowadays, if you don't know how to do something,
watch a YouTube video.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I don't understand. If you wanted to, if you Googled putting up a toilet roll holder, there would probably be 100 people telling you the best ways to do it. So there's no reason that lack of knowledge should stand in the way of having a go. And good for you if you're going to install a camera. It's not something years ago, talking about cars, years ago, I had a Mark IV Cortina. Yeah. And it had a
nice car,
an ordinary radio.
Nice car.
Sort of one speaker.
Yeah.
And I wanted a stereo, so I went to Halfords and I got a car stereo. I got all singing, all dancing.
Did it have a graphic equaliser?
No.
No.
Cassette player. It had a cassette player and a stereo. But I had to put speakers in. I got speakers, and I knew they would fit. But what it meant was I had to cut a hole the size of a saucer in the front doors.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, dear.
That's
if I get that wrong...
Yeah, there's no going back, is there?
What do I do? And of course, no YouTube videos. But I think somebody who I shared a house with worked for Land Rover, whatever, or Rover.
Yeah.
And gave me the confidence to just do it. Just cut a hole.
Yeah.
And then cut round. I think I might have borrowed a jigsaw, so that was easier to.
Yeah.
So and I did it, and I fitted it, and it was all done. So fair play to you. My father wasn't good at motor mechanics.
No, I'm terrible.
In fact, it's the only time we heard him use the F word was when we had an Austin A40.
Yeah. And
the Austin A40 had a bonnet that came up with a lip on it.
That's
like
right.
a blade.
Yes.
And you can probably see what's coming. But my brother and I are standing on either side of the car, and he was saying, we just need to get the distributor cap off. And once we've done that would just get we'll pull that up. And as he pulled it up, he came in slow motion, whacking into the blade of the bonnet lid, and went, "Oh, F it." And we looked at each other, and my brother and I went, that must have hurt. That must have really hurt. Because we'd never heard such language. And my dad was in the Navy, so he'd heard every swear.
I've never heard my dad swear.
Well, that's
or my
nice.
Mum, actually. Isn't that weird?
Well, no, it's nice. I mean, my father, he didn't swear. He didn't use the F word. That was the first time. The other time he said shit. But that was a kind of a moment which preceded it. Was he'd come in from work, commuting in and out of London to the suburbs where we lived, and I had to draw a mains fuse for physics homework.
Yeah.
And I think my mum had said he wants to draw a fuse for. I didn't like to take it. It's all right, I'll do it. So take everything out of the cupboard under the stairs, all the clobber and rubbish.
Yeah.
Okay, he took it out. I drew it. I put it back in. All the lights went out. The fuse had gone.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's the last thing you want to deal with, isn't it? Is a fuse, all the lights out.
Yeah.
You want to sort
especially when you're just trying to be helping somebody out. You know, you're just thinking, oh, this will be good. He can draw this, and it'll be fine. I'm going to help my son out.
Yeah, he's doing a favour for his son.
Yeah.
And with a fuse, I could have probably looked in a book and done it, for goodness sake. Yeah. But anyway, that's the only time I really heard him. And only heard him swear like that.
Yeah.
And he used to say bloody, which I respected more than people who said ruddy, because I thought, ruddy, good show. I thought,
it's a bit posh, isn't it?
It's a bit too posh.
Yeah.
Just what you mean is bloody.
Yeah.
So he'd say bloody, and I remember my mum saying bugger once. Oh, bugger! I think she cut her finger or did something with her hands in the sink, and I went, "What was that, Mum?" She said, "Oh, bother." I said, "Oh, bother." I thought, you didn't. But I don't like. We've discussed this before, haven't we? I don't like swearing. I think it shows a paucity of vocabulary, and that sounds terribly pompous. So let me rephrase that. If you're going to use those words, which are generally regarded in the English-speaking world to be very rude or vulgar, save them for a very special occasion.
Yeah.
If you're interpolating them with all kinds of other words at the bus stop, and if this and there, then they have no meaning. They have no value.
They lose their emphasis.
Yeah.
So it's all about. Do you remember the BBC sports reporter Kevin Geary, who was on the BBC?
Vaguely.
He's no longer with us, sadly, but his son's Patrick's doing it now. He's on the BBC News doing that. But Kevin Geary, brilliant writer, brilliant journalist. And I was speaking to him once, and he said what most journalists forget is that there are two words that you need to remember always when you're telling a story, and they are context and relevance. And he's absolutely right. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. And that's how I feel about swearing. In the right context, it's fine, as long as it's relevant.